Well, chit chat, Kit Kats. I think, the person that come, it wasn't about my readings as much as what they were espousing that I should be talking about and not be talking about, etc. I think this is the same person that came in and said, oh, I only have a couple of pieces in my wardrobe. I only wear black and I only have a few little pieces, and how dare I be showing my things that I'm getting, and, I should be talking about not having material goods, etc., yada, 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 yada. Well, apparently, she doesn't know anything about my background. So my background, from a young age, I was a seeker. But once I graduated high school, I went into an esoteric order, an esoteric Christian order. Okay. And you had to give up your possessions to get in there, which I did. I had a car. I gave it up gladly, went into the order. And every evening we would go out down for prayers. And I hadn't been there too long. Went down for prayers. And that night, he always did the blessing, laid hands on your head. And that night, when I was down there at the altar, the gold light went through my body. And I was literally nailed to the floor. And this gold light, I can tell you, was just like this, about that width, right straight through my body. And I was like nailed to the floor. And he said, at that stage, you've entered the first stage of enlightenment. Well, I wouldn't, say that. It awakened that energy, that spiritual energy. And in that moment, immediately I saw auras. I looked, and the cross on the wall had a gold aura. The one that was on the altar had a purple aura around it. And at that moment, I was shifted into a samadhi state, which I didn't know what a samadhi was. All I knew was this feeling of expansion, connection to everything, feeling like you're not even in your body. And if I would have gone across the street and got hit by a car and passed, it wouldn't have mattered at that point. And I was in that samadhi state for a while. Well, when that opened, that energy opened, that spiritual energy, you changed your belt, okay? First you wore a black belt, then you wore a blue belt. So put that blue belt on me, and there were some jealousies and things there. And, this is not, not here to have jealousies and this and that drama going on. So I left soon after that. But, they did work with tarot. They did teach an esoteric type of tarot there. And he was reportedly connected with higher beings, alien, etc. Now, when you're there, they give you jobs to do that you are totally unqualified for. And so you have to rely on spirit to get you through. He made me chief carpenter. I don't know nothing about carpentry. And so you had to rely on that. Now, I had a lot of very miraculous things that happen. Now, this person says they're studying and this with guides and masters and this and that. And I can tell you, in my own journey, as you're going through it, I was not studying under anybody at that point. Things open. They just spontaneously open. And things take place. I used to be able to control the weather. I mean, just a lot of things that you would think are fantasy, which are not fantasy, that took place. Energy work opened, healing opened, when I was actually just standing in line. And there was this guy in front of me, and every time I was close to him, my throat would hurt. I'd back up, and it'd stop. I'd get close, and my throat would hurt. I'd back up, it would stop. And I knew at that point. I asked him, "You have a sore throat?" He says, "Yes." He's had it for a long time. He's gone to numerous doctors, nothing, And I knew just to lay hands. And I asked him, and he said yes, and I did. Okay? So these things spontaneously open. Practices just come filtering in. Practices I've given to students, how to make a complete mantra, how all of this knowledge and things just comes in. It's not something you go to learn from somebody else. It just is like the way that I work. It's not that I'm hearing something or seeing something. It's called just spontaneous knowledge, just spontaneous. Okay, it's just there. So, I've had, like I said, crazy things happen. My daughter, I had promised to take her to Disneyland. And my car, old beater car, and the radiator just basically exploded. It wouldn't hold water. And some guy looked at it and said, "You can't go anywhere," And I said, "No, I promised her, and I have to take her." And I literally laid hands on it. It got me down to Disneyland, okay, from San Francisco to Disneyland, and then there I had to replace the radiator. But it did hold water to get me to that far. So, I've seen all sorts of those things happen. Like I said, I had broken my shoulder that they can't set. They told me, if you move it, we'll have to do pins in it. I was homeless at the time. I had to set up a tent every night. I had 2 dogs then as well, and I had a stick shift car. So you don't think I was moving that arm? I was moving it, but I was doing energy work in it. I was doing energy work. It hurt like a mother, but it knit the bones. I've got full use of it, absolute full use of it. So I've had a lot of very interesting things, let's just put it that way, that have happened along the way. People I've met, encounters in Hawaii of the alien type, okay? One guy that was a walk-in, okay? And the Ashtar command things, it's another happening. Okay, I mean, yeah. But a lot of experiences, let's just put it that way. Now, somebody was asking me the other day about a book, because I mentioned I have all those books on Amazon. If people are interested, they asked me which one should they read, what to start with. Well, it's hard to say unless I knew what you were interested in. My first book was Kundalini from Hell to Heaven, and that's about the Kundalini journey, what helps it, what doesn't. It does have advice for anybody in a spiritual path, but I would say maybe, let me go get books and look here real quick. Oh, where did it go? Well, it must be out in the other. I think this one might be too much. Maybe maybe this one, Whispering Echoes from Eternity. That one is more on different readings I've done, etc., advisory type of things. Yeah. Talking transcript, light triumphs over darkness. Let me see what all we have in here. Stand up and be recognized, a spirit pointing message, spirit reading reflection, trust, change, and clarity in the eye of the storm, message of Christ, tarot and the spiritual journey, accept and offer help, spirit read, walking the path of surrender, walking in light, introduction, the mystic journey, shattering ignorance of critics, the practice of centering, unburden yourself, giving back, white light protection, connecting with Christ, confronting dark energies, reflections on Christianity and spirituality, blessed Easter, Easter message, love, justice, the kingdom within, the Christian perspective, simple practices for peaceful living, a summary parting message, and that's what you can find in Whispering Echoes from Eternity. Now there is another book, and it must be in the other room. And it is the one that Song of the Butterfly, Finding the Freedom Within, and it covers a lot of different subjects, snippets from all sorts of different subjects. So that was another one that I might recommend if you're just starting out and wanting to read something. And then there is this one. This has a little other deeper things about the the silver cord, astral travel, the self, abidance and practice, universes, experiences in the one, beyond intellect, faith and grace, life letting go in the solitary journey, evaluating kundalini experience, what happens when one is awakened. Okay, a guru can play any game you want. Okay, so I mean, this is called Obscurity to Clarity, the Journey of Consciousness. It's a very large book, and this is taken from different satsangs. Satsang means association with truth. Satsangs that have been given. These were taken also from when I had my first Yahoo groups, talks and things dealing with people. So there's this one, Obscurity to Clarity, the Journey of Consciousness. So those are the ones I would probably recommend. I don't know, I would necessarily recommend the ones from non-duality, because when you're in the mind of the mental thing, because what happens, non-duality is when the mind stills, okay? When the mind is still, you no longer have running thoughts. All of that is gone. I mean, gone. It doesn't come up, okay? So, a lot of people just won't get non-duality, okay? Because they're in this transitory world, and to them that this is the reality of what they're dealing with. So to try to discuss non-duality, it's a bit not something that I think is really going to be that beneficial at that point, okay? So, yeah. But anyway, any of these, you can find it on Amazon. You can see the list of all the books. And just put in Ganga Karmakar, okay? There it is, Ganga Karmakar. I don't know if this is showing up backwards or not. It looks backwards on my screen, but I don't know. Somebody was saying that a couple of times it's been like a mirror image, so I don't know what's happening with that. It's nothing that I've changed here. Also, if you're new here, I do have in the, what do they call that, play section, something. But one of the things, it's got spiritual talks I've given that you can listen to those, and channeling. Now, on some of the channeling videos, especially the beginning earlier ones, you'll see that it's, when I start channeling, it looks like a bad kung fu movie, because my voice and my mouth movements are not lining up with the video. And the minute I stop channeling, it goes right back to normal. But during the channeling time, it has that odd thing that happens with the video. Okay, so you can see that also if you look in the, what is it called? Not playback, but, well, you know what I mean. You know, where there are various subjects that I've got. But, yeah, you can, playlists. Oh, mercy, the playlists. So you can see that when I was doing channeling. Now, it doesn't, I think that has rectified itself. And the later channeling ones, that was not happening as much. So it's now, things are just fluid, okay? And it's not that I'm looking for the guides and the masters and this and that, but sometimes people want to have channeled things, but the things that come through the channeling really are the same things that I know absolutely beyond a shadow of a doubt anyway, okay? But some people like to have that other connection, and that's fine too. I mean, it's not that that can't be done, it can be done. Now, with the last thing about this person grousing about that I was showing these things, it's not that money is bad, it's the love of money that's bad. When you sell your soul for money, okay, it doesn't mean you can't have things. That's not what it's saying, okay? When Christ was talking about, give all you have and then come follow me, he was talking to a wealthy man that was love of money, okay? That was his focus. So that's a totally different thing. So I think, like I said, this person's big thing that everybody needs to remember their name, and they're doing this school, and they're going to enlighten the parables. Well, anybody with eyes to see and ears to hear can understand the parables. They're not a great mystery, okay? And Christ was quite forthcoming in what he was saying. Now, there are some people that think you should be a doormat for people. It's not what it is. And he could be quite harsh on occasions, okay? What did he tell the Pharisees? You're basically dead men's sepulcher bones walking around, that's it. Threw over the money changers' tables. He wasn't always, and he got angry with people. I come to give you all of these good things, and all you want are loaves and fishes. You come for the food, and I'm trying to give you something to elevate you spiritually. Now, he came and was a reformer of Judaism. And for those white nationalist Christians, Christ was a Jew. For God's sakes, wake up. He's a Jew. Okay? And he came to reform Judaism. He came to give them something higher than the stuff that they were promoting and locked in the drama. He wanted to give them something higher to elevate. Which some listened, and of course, many did not. But even sometimes he said he had to get away from the crowds. Once in a while he left, okay? Went out on his own, wanted to be away from the crowds for a time. How long must I suffer this generation? How long am I going to deal with you, dipwads? Go like it. Oh, mercy. But one of his main messages, and the one I always try to put out for people, is fear not. He always said, fear not. Don't go into fear. Don't go into fear. Greater is he that's within you than he that's in the world. You have that spark of the divine is. That's what gives you life. If the divine was not there, you would have no life. So people that think they're separated from the divine, are you still moving, walking, talking? Then you're still connected to the divine. Okay, it's still there. You want to know what is God? You're not going to find it, seeking out here. It's an internal journey that one takes. And when you get to that last step, the ego implodes and you find out what is there prior to ego, prior to that going into this temporal structure where you limit, where things are limited so that you can have these experiences. So on that note, I'll leave that here. Some people say, oh, you're against Christianity. I used to have people say I'm against Christianity, which is absolutely the furthest thing from the truth. But when they ask me, I'm all and none. I'm that thread of truth that runs through all religious persuasions. There is a thread of truth that runs through all of them. Okay? But I'm none of the dogma. I'm none of the man-made dogmas, rules, regulations. Okay? I'm about that spiritual truth that runs through all religious persuasions before they got to dogmas and dramas and occluding things and, going off on a mind bender, putting all this stuff out there. And like Christ said, I didn't come to do away with the law, I came to fulfill it, and the fulfillment of the law is love. If you are in love, then you're not going to transgress. You have 10 commandments for those that are not in love. Okay? If you're not in love, here's the do's and don'ts. Okay? If you're in love, you're already there. You're not going to be transgressing any of these things. Okay? So that's it. The highest teaching is love. Compassion, wanting to see humanity to grow, to express, to have freedom, to have that light, okay? To want to aid each other going forward, to see humanity as a whole. We are one planet, one humanity, rather than say, I'm in this little clutch like Trump wants to do and isolate everybody. We're against them. We're better than them. We're against them. No, it's one planet, one humanity. Doesn't matter what the color of your skin is outside. Inside, everybody's the same. Okay? You peel off this little external layer and everybody's the same. Everybody wants the same. Well, for the most part, those that are going towards the light want the same things. They want love. They want, to have stability, basic things. Those that are of the dark are ego-centered, and it's the love of money, the love of dominance, the love of that. Okay? Me. And I don't care about anybody else. Okay, that's it. And the biggest proponent that you can see of that is Trump. His toxicity. He likes to see people suffer. He's a hater. He's in delusion. He's in fantasy. And he thinks that everybody is like him. Okay? So, yeah, there is that division that's taking place. But again, when you get to realization, you enter the great zero. Okay? You don't put yourself on a pedestal. Okay? I'm higher and you're down here. No, everybody is at 0 point balance. That infinite zero. It has nothing within itself, it appears, but it gives so much to everything else. When you have one and you have that 0, which contains nothing in itself, but what does it do to the 1? It adds 10. You add another 0, you get 100, another 0, 1,000, another 0. So the more 0 you have, which within itself contains nothing, cannot be subdivided, it adds so much more to everything else. Okay? So when you go into that void, it's not devoid. It's pregnant. I call it the pregnant void because everything that will ever come into existence is already there. Okay? And then when things begin to move, that energy begins to move, then it starts taking on this form. Okay? The higher the energy, the more light it is. The lower the energy, the more solid things appear to be. Okay? So that's it, basically, in a nutshell. It was a very long journey. Very long journey. And you give back what you can give back to humanity. At first, I wanted to get everybody to enlightenment, but I found out rapidly when they found out what enlightenment was, that the ego implodes, that that's no longer the main focus of anything. It's not about controlling things. It's nothing like that at all. That's not what they want. They want to be able to have a little more control in their lives. Okay? I want to control it. I don't want to, go with the flow. I want to be able to control this and control that and be able to navigate my way and, my, me, I. I want to enhance my ego. Well, okay, if that's what you want to do, okay. And you have to be willing to confront yourself, all your fears, all your drama. And that's the path of Kundalini. It brings it up in your face. Now, I don't advocate for people to awaken Kundalini because, again, once it's truly open, it's there 24/7 and you cannot get out of it. There is no just off and on switch that you're going to play with it a little today. And when that spiritual energy awakens, okay, you're having visions, you're in your body, you're out of your body, all this stuff is happening. One second you feel really large, the next second you're tiny, the next is expansions that take place. Okay? You feel like you can't learn anything. Now, in the midst of that, I went to school and I graduated with honors. And I was feeling I couldn't learn anything. I was, how it ever happened to graduate with honors, I don't know. Because was feeling like, at that point, I couldn't contain anything. But apparently I did because I had graduated my class with honors. But it's a 24-hour a day, 7-day a week happening. And if you want to know what you face, read the Tibetan Book of the Dead. And that's all the things that you face when you're going through a Kundalini journey. Okay? So anyway, on that note, I'll leave that here. Wishing everybody well. But why do I address these people sometimes? Because it's part of the path. If you're a spiritual teacher, it's part of the path. Okay? Sometimes, you have to put it out there, and it's actually for their benefit. Okay? Because if you're going down this path of the Messiah complex, I'm out there and I'm great and you need to remember my name and I'm going to give this and I'm going to give that and I've got these higher things and I'm, doing mysteries and I'm going to be so great and you need to know who I am. And yeah, that's going down a path that I don't recommend. Okay? Just put it that way. So anyway, on that note, I will leave that here. It's enough. But again, if you want my books, you can find them on Amazon. And it just depends on, again, what you're looking for. If you want, just nice advisory things, this is a nice one. It's not really big. Whispering Echoes from Eternity. I think it just gives good advice, living daily life, etc., etc. And then if you want to go into the more deeper, all of these things, Obscurity to Clarity, Journey of Consciousness, or the Song of the Butterfly, Finding the Freedom Within. So those are the ones I would probably recommend off the top of my head. I would not do the non-duality because when you're just in the transitory mind, you're not going to get non-duality. Okay? I don't speak from non-duality now because I'm dealing with people in the transitory mind. Okay? So that's where that's at. Anyway, after enlightenment, you are in for years, it takes years to ground again. After everything blew out, it was impossible really for me to say me, my, I. And to even communicate and talk with people. People want to have their small talk. That was just, no. Because you're in a totally different space. Okay? You can feel the energy of everything. Just sit there and look at a tree and the leaf moving, you feel it in your heart. Your heart is fluttering, the leaf is fluttering, the heart is fluttering. Everything was beautiful. Dog shit was beautiful. Everything. And it takes literally, it was about 10 years to ground again, to really be able to address people and work on this level. Okay? Because when everything's blown out, you're in a totally different space. Okay? Totally different space. And so, like I said, it takes a good 10 years. But the mind never reactivates in that way. Now, if you want to read about that, you know, and again, the worst thing that happens, some people get a little taste of it, and then they come back and they reroute into ego and the mind starts playing again. That's when you have big problems, because then they want to elevate themselves. They are God, they are this and that. You'll hear some of them like that. That's somebody that had a glimpse and their ego re-established itself, and then they go off on that tangent. Okay? So if you want to understand about that, you can read like the Ashtavakra Gita or the Vivek Chudamani, and they talk about that, the blowing out. Okay? And staying in that still mind, where you're in direct consciousness, rather than, you know, going back into ego framework and the mind reestablishing its drama. Yeah. Maybe this has been too much for some people. Maybe it was time for this to come out and explain a little bit more for people that haven't been here long and don't know any of my background and may think that I'm just doing tarot, that I'm just reading tarot and that's it. No. The tarot is an offshoot, okay? And again, it came out spontaneously. I haven't sit there and read endless books on it, etc. It spontaneously comes out. That's it. So on that note, I'll leave that here. I hope everyone's having a great day. And this afternoon, I will be on with Lena and Hogarth and Sheila at Hogalishi time at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on Hogarth's channel, Global Astrology. Yeah. So I'll see you there. Thanks for tuning in. Much love and light to everyone. And again, don't go into fear. Fear is the enemy. Fear wants to take away your energy, your light, your abundance, all of these things. Okay? So thanks for tuning in.